Hello everyone, my name is Chandrashekar and I am the CEO for Jain Group of Institution Schools in India. Today I'm here to talk to you about 10 simple but effective tips for teachers to be effective online in their classrooms. Today, as we all know, that we have moved very fast into digital learning. Online schooling is almost the norm across the country and for that matter, even across the globe. But what are those simple steps which you and I can ensure as teachers so that we can be more effective? At the same time, we can be more efficient in our classroom delivery on the online space. So, without much delay, let's get started with these simple tips. Tip number one is be the first to choose a right platform. So even before you get started with your online classes, I think you need to spend enough time on the right platform. There are many platforms available, and I don't want to name any one of them. But what I would request is if you are very conscious about what platform you can pick for your own purpose, and at the same time, keep in mind the requirements and the capacity or the convenience of your stakeholders, students, and your fellow colleagues, and also your school, as well as the parents. Whatever platform you choose, very, very important because that sets the whole context, and every platform has its own advantages and limitations. So pick the one which suits you well. That's my tip number one. Now let's go to tip number two. Now, tip number two is practice. I cannot stress enough on the fact that we need to practice because we are making a shift over from the offline to the online mode. And as teachers, we need to be well versed with all the tools and the tricks so that we do not suffer in front of the children. And that comes only by practice. And believe you me, every time we practice, we learn a new thing. As I am doing it, I am learning new shortcuts, new tips, and new tricks so that I can make my interaction with my students effective and more enjoyable for them. So please practice, and we need to have as many test classes as possible so that we are well versed with whatever we are delivering. Tip number three is preparation, asking your students to log in at least 5 to 10 minutes early to your class. Now, this can be looked at as a hygiene announcement, but it makes a lot of impact because you literally cannot waste minutes after minutes by onboarding children one after the other into your class because you have only 40-45 minutes available. And in that, if you lose time by doing all these housekeeping or hygiene things, then you don't have much time left to actually deliver your lesson. So request them to join in a 5 minutes early and help them to be on board so that your time is effectively and completely used to deliver your lessons. Now, tip number four is encouraging your class to attend by providing them technical assistance. Now, what do I mean by this? See, children are technological natives. We all know this. But having said that, there are children. There are children for different reasons, best known to them. They are not very comfortable with your choice of technology. And they somehow have certain hurdles or hindrances to be more comfortable with the technology and to be there as much as you would like them to be there. So, what you need to do is to travel the extra mile to connect with those people and try to help them with all the technical assistance so that they are on board. You can use their parents, their siblings, or even their brothers and sisters or cousins who are available in their house to help them ensure that they get the hand holding. Now, that personal attention is what is required in today's age and time because all of us are going through certain changes and adjustments. And as an adult, if you take up the charge, you will be not just effective as a teacher, but you will also be a great person who is connecting at an emotional level with your students. That's tip number four. Tip number five. Tip number five is prepare your lesson plans, keeping the online medium in mind. Now, this is very important because all of us are well versed in creating our lesson plans for offline medium. But now that there is a change, we need to have lesson plans for our online medium. And when I say online, you need to bring in lot of changes, whether it is using other integration tools which different technological partners provide for us, assessments, quiz, polls, or even some kind of video integration, audio integration, teamwork. But then all of these needs to be brought inside as good as you would have done it in an offline classroom. And when you're preparing at that stage itself, you need to keep all these things in mind so that you don't cut a sorry figure in front of people during your class. I know even after your preparation, you can be outsmarted by your children because they may always give you a hack to solve your challenge or your issue. That's okay. That's absolutely okay because that's how collaboration or contribution works, and that's how partnership works. And even children feel good when you encourage them and appreciate them and get their ideas into your classroom. That's fine, but that does not mean we do not prepare and we do not practice and we are not aware of what we need to do to make our lessons effective and more specific for our delivery. So that's tip number 5. Now let's see what is there in tip number 6. Tip 6 is something which is not heard of, but it is very necessary in today's times. What I would suggest is if you have your split up of the syllabus, your syllabus plan for the next month or the next 2 months or even a term, I would highly recommend that you email that lesson plan and the syllabus plan to your children so that your children get a bird's eye view of what is going to be covered in the coming classes. And not only that, they come prepared for your lessons. See, with digital platforms, flipped learning, blended learning, and all these jargons are no more jargons. They are norms. They have come into our lives more faster than we could have imagined. So if you give them a plan, that roadmap will help them to be better when it comes to preparing themselves to the class and attending and deriving more value out of the class. So go ahead and email them the syllabus plan so that they are at par with what you have to offer to them. That's tip number 6. Now, tip number 7 is partnership with parents. Now, we all know in education, in schools especially, parents are our partners in progress. But I cannot stress this line more than now because today parents are equal partners or even more partners than you in this relationship. Why? As the ladder goes down, when you have primary, pre primary classes, you have the adult, the parent at home, on whom you are relying completely to ensure that the child is in front of your camera for the class, the child is sitting in front of the computer, attending the classes well, preparing for it, well dressed, well fed, and presented for you to give him that information, knowledge, or wisdom. Now, this cannot happen if you do not have a partnership that is stronger. So you need to go the extra mile. You cannot just connect with your parents just once in a term or once in a month as your PTM, but you need to go the extra mile and have that 5 minute, 2 minute conversations with them, maybe even on WhatsApp, on a message, or even on a telephone, but make them comfortable and get them on your side so that together both you and the parent can deliver value to your children on online classes. That's tip number 7. Now, tip number 8 is this. Again, a hygiene announcement, but very, very important, is set automatic reminders for you to be able to communicate the class link, the connection link, multiple times in a day or over a week. Because what happens is today they are very, very distracted. Children are very distracted, and the last thing you want is they searching for the link to join your class. So either you have a WhatsApp group or you have an email group, whatever you have, make sure that you send automatic reminders where the link of the class is sent to them at least 2 to 3 times prior to your class. So it has to be regular, it has to be systematic, and it has to be automatic. That's the tip number 8, so that you don't lose out precious time when you are engaging with your children. Tip number 9 is Always start your classes with the best practices, muting and unmuting, the hygiene for any online class. Whatever platform you use, make sure that there is no unnecessary, unwanted noise coming from any other source. That's number one. And repeat this every time you have your class. Number two, as a teacher, be aware of your own self, how presentable you are with your background. There should be no unnecessary movements. A simple green cloth can solve your problem, and there are a lot of virtual backgrounds available where you can actually use them and be more presentable to your students. And once you do that, you are leading by example and you're actually bringing that in the children as well. So no background movements unnecessary, and whatever you're presenting, whatever you're showing them, teaching them, green board, whiteboard, project, paper, or even some kind of a gadget or a tool which you're using, make sure that they see it properly so that they are understanding whatever you're communicating. And the third thing is, ensure that you have a stable internet connectivity so that they don't have a lag in your voice, they don't misinterrupt or misinterpret your words, and it leads to a lot of confusion and chaos. So keep these simple things in mind so that you have your time used in an effective manner online in your classes. And the last tip, which is tip number 10 for effective teaching online, is keep the interaction and encouragement always. Keep it going. I can't say this enough. Today, we are all living in a testing time. We are all crammed up in our homes. Children don't meet their friends physically, they don't have fun, and their energies are snubbed. One thing and the best thing you can do is to encourage them, is to appreciate them, give that pat on the back, because everybody wants to be wanted. Every child feels my teacher should recognize me and reward me, and the best thing you can do is appreciate them for whatever little small things they are doing. And that way you keep them hooked to you and your class, and the next time you come on screen, they get that smile, they get that delight to be a part of it. And never ever forget to smile, because I remember that proverb which I really like: smile is one such curve that sets everything straight. That's right. You got to smile so that people feel comfortable, people feel wanted, and people get attracted to engage, interact, and also to enjoy your classes. So these are 10 simple tips. I'm sure you're already following a few of them, but if you can bring it all together, I'm sure you will be not just a local teacher, but a global teacher.